What is up, y'all? Welcome to the new podcast, Sports Talk from the Chair. I am your co-host, Corey. With me,
It's your boy Trey, other co-host here. How y'all doing?
welcome, y'all. Welcome. So this is a new podcast we're starting. Me and Trey been cool for what, almost a year now?
About a full year, maybe a few extra months on top of that.
Yeah. So we're just starting something new. A little sports podcast, basically coming with like the
We were both media students. We're trying to
yeah.
create something.
Yeah, pretty much. Just try to come with something that combines our two favorite interests, sports, and just coming to it with that realness. Just from a unbiased, well, maybe a little biased because we're Philly fans, but at the same time coming with a realistic approach to sports a
Young,
little bit.
realistic, biased, and non-biased approach to
Yeah,
the Philly sports.
yeah. So let's get into it. So I wanted to start by going through like the highlights, like because 2024 for a little bit was a good year so far for like Philly sports. I mean, you had Dawn Staley, a Philly native. She was a coach for the South Carolina women's basketball team. They had another undefeated season, won the championship. Um, I think that was what 2 years in a row they went undefeated. That was crazy. Shoot, I wish I had known about that streak. I would put some money on that. But there was that. We had WrestleMania coming in. Like, dude,
Oh, WrestleMania! I didn't. So we got a lot of the Philly sports and Philly sport talk to go into, but just WrestleMania, I did not know how big growing up WrestleMania really got or serious it was until seeing it come to Philly and see how many Philly native fans
mm-hmm.
went from loving whatever sport they're rooting to all being together.
Yes.
All the sports, all the sports in the state itself, kind of, I guess, cooperating with
Yeah.
with WWE as well. Like like there were some Eagles players working with Seth Rollins.
There was Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson.
Yeah, and then they were even incorporated into the show. But
Yeah.
there was some there was either a Flyers mascot or the I think someone from the Flyers did a video or did promo with WWE as well. Not like
Really?
yeah, it wasn't. I think it was like radio or it was like just an image from
Yeah.
Instagram. So it was really cool just to see a lot of Phillies teams logos involved in WWE itself as a whole general thing for them as a company to really come into our state and really embrace our vibe and our culture and sports especially, but just embrace our fan base and us as people and stuff. Really gave me a lot of respect for them. So having Philly kind of be respected and appreciated that way in another form of sports or a form of entertainment,
Yeah.
it was really nice to see. So that was a great way to start off this year for me as far as Philly sports go.
Okay, so I was a WWE fan like since I was a kid. I I pretty much like I kind of followed it. I knew about certain wrestlers. I knew about John Cena, Rey Mysterio. I knew about Edge, Triple H, Undertaker. I used to have the video games, SmackDown versus Raw. I think I had '08 and '09 as a kid, so I used to play those a lot against my dad.
So the video games is how I got into WWE. I never really. I mean, one of the last few things I was going to say about WWE wrestling, bringing it to topic and such. I never really thought myself of really liking watching it as much as as much as I was until or I always thought I didn't realize how big or serious the events were until seeing WrestleMania within the states because I always thought WrestleMania was an out of state event or like
Yeah.
out of country event.
Well-
I thought they always did that international or
Well,
something.
funny thing about that, so they never done WrestleMania internationally, as far as I know.
Okay, so I always thought it was international. That's
Yeah.
why it's okay.
No, so they mainly like I think since it started, WrestleMania has always been a in the U.S. event, but it's always been the biggest event for WWE year round. But they rarely brought it to Philly. I think the last time they brought it to Philly was like in the early, maybe late '90s. When last time it was here, The Rock had hair. That's how long it's been since like the last time WrestleMania. Like last time WrestleMania was in Philly, The Rock still had hair. He was actually a full-time wrestler still. I think he was just about to break into Hollywood. But like, yeah, the scene was drastically different back then compared to now. So for years, I've always said I really hope they bring WrestleMania back to Philly because
Mhm.
for so long, since I got back into wrestling, I think in 2014, 2015, I
Mhm.
watched it for a while, fell off a little bit, but I kept up with the like what was going on, the new stuff, the new wrestlers coming out, storylines. But I always was like, hey, can we please get WrestleMania back to Philly? I almost prayed for it to come back to Philly. And it was kind of, you can tell it was kind of like moving that direction because we had more and more events. I think they had Royal Rumble here, I think two, maybe three times. Um, we've had, we've always had talks about it, but like, you never really thought it was going to happen. And then finally it got, I think it was during the year where like everything was just going right in Philly sports. I think it was 2022, 2023. Like the Eagles were doing good, went to Super Bowl, lost, but still we went. The Phillies were doing good, went to the World Series, lost, but still we went. Philadelphia Union went to their championship round, lost, but again we went. Um, and then of course the Sixers being the Sixers, but it
We'll get
hurts
into
me.
that. We get into
Yeah,
that.
but like it was so great, and like I wasn't in the stadium. I wasn't in the link. I was in Xfinity Live Lounge with a friend, both nights of WrestleMania. But I when I tell you it was so I've like the link looked so beautiful. It was so nice having that event there. Seeing like you said, seeing so many people converging on one thing. Like I bumped into a guy in the bathroom at Xfinity Live. I was like, quiet crowd, huh? He's like, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Not like Eagle stuff, Philly stuff. Like I don't think I've seen a crowd this big where people just
Mhm.
get together. So you know, maybe people are right. Maybe we are just jerks and it just took something like this to get us all together. I was like, hey, I don't know, maybe, but no, it was amazing. It was great. It was great to see like so many people just share their love for one thing, and like I ended up bumping into a lot of good people there. Like there was this group of guys, like for just to point out, there were so many people with replica championships. Like it was so crazy, but they were so awesome. I saw so many people with the big gold belt, WWE championships, European championships, U.S. titles, like all of that. There was this group of guys that we sat near the second night, and they had the European Championship and the WWE Championship replica titles, and they let me take a picture with them. Like like they offered it up. It's like, hey, here, go ahead. They were really chill. So like it was really fun. I really love being in environments like that where like people can just get together and just share their love of something. And like,
That's probably the biggest thing for me. That was really like it wasn't. See, it, like wasn't lucky enough to go there, but I was lucky enough to be able to. And this is I say lucky because I haven't for the longest haven't watched pay per view wrestling
yeah,
in a minute. But I have like been wanting to, or I have tried to keep up with what goes on and such.
hmm
Um, but watching the WrestleMania as I did, or being lucky enough to watch it as I did, seeing so many native Philadelphia people just
yeah,
together, not like bickering or arguing
hmm
with anyone on a team. Because like yeah, we can see that on our sports when we have our fan base, but of
yeah.
course we see them, you know.
We're a little crazy.
We
I
said
can't lie.
we see us go a little crazy, go a
Yeah,
little bickering, go a
we're
little
a little
wild to show our love, but also
yeah,
to like show against another team that's there, the other fan base that's there, like oh we're better than you.
yeah.
This was just us just being able to be happy and celebrate and just enjoy like the
hmm
events that's coming to us.
Yeah.
Enjoy the event that's here for us. Whether they said what they said heel wise
hmm
about us or whatever, because they had the Rock and the
Yeah.
Rock.
And Logan Paul
Yeah,
and
his
stuff.
Logan Paul will still. But again, with all that said, still to us, we love that because the fact that we can accept that in at least in that moment
hmm
we could accept it and be like yeah but y'all are still here or y'all are here for us
Yeah.
or
Oh, sorry. That's an
we're
ice
still
cream
here
truck right
showing
there.
we're still that is a lot yeah that's
That's
a
a
lot
loud ice cream truck. Jesus.
but it's like we are it's like showing I guess how filled out the base or the stadiums were
Yeah.
with the fan base made the fan base like feel, at least to me, made it feel like we still showed out though. We still
Yeah.
showed out, represented our state, our
hmm
home, and whether it was for the love we have for this, or just people that wanted to come and experience that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It to me, it made marks just with the people showing out because it made not only because it made records,
hmm
but you could see it physically watching.
Yeah, you should see the love, like
Yeah, you
the
could see
joy
like
that was
it was
happening.
this, especially after me, and I'm going to say this as much as I can. After 2020, wrestling was like for the next 2 years, it was like it was dead.
Yeah, it
So
was.
after 2023, it was like 2023 was like, or during 2023, it was like, all right, cool. The revival of the fan base, the revival of the stadiums, everyone's seeing child.
Hmm.
You see the fan bases and crowds getting hyped, but they are looking not small, but kind of like normal or
Yeah,
they're looking, they're looking like normal crowd stuff. This was like this seeing WrestleMania
it was electric. It
was
was just
electric. Like
so
it was
much.
like it was like wrestling never died, or
Yeah,
it was like a
like
concert. Like it was literally just
I was there and I remember like hearing the interviews. People were calling it because Triple H is now in charge. He does all the like putting wrestlers over, seeing who gets a shot, who gets a push. He basically like controls all that now, which is so great. And like that whole weekend, people were saying like, "Oh, we're in the Triple H era," and like it definitely felt like that. Like I was sitting with my boy in his car. We were leaving the event, and like it really felt like, hey, it's a new era. It's like a wrestling in WWE is kind of going like a renaissance now. It's truly the Triple H era. We're in an era where like anybody can get pushed, everybody gets opportunity. There's more refreshing storylines, and there's just the product of wrestling is just being put on to a level that it hasn't been in a while. So it was great, even with like the stuff that happened, like because there were some like fanfare with it because like John Cena showed up, The Rock was there, all that. It was still cool though. Undertaker showed up. I mean, he had to, but it was just really cool. And honestly, I hope, like they say, like at the end by every metric, this was probably the biggest WrestleMania ever,
I
and
think it
I'm
was.
proud of that.
I think it was, and I'm very proud that it was a Philadelphia WrestleMania. It was
Yeah,
very much a Philadelphia WrestleMania, and it was showing.
like
It was
Philly can
showing.
party.
It was showing that
What is it?
we can we yes we're the crowd that's the loudest in the
Yeah,
lot, but we're not gonna hide it.
yeah.
We're not like is that
And like
with anything. You
at the end
know.
of the day, we what we can do best is show love. Like, and we were going to be real with you. I think that was very real. And honestly, I think the wrestling presence in Philly in general is very underrated
Oh yeah.
because like when you look at the history, because Paul Heyman was here, and we had ECW. ECW probably was one of the biggest staples in
Yes,
wrestling.
I think that's why there was a video. Sorry to cut you off.
You're
But
good, you're good.
I remember seeing a video about Paul Heyman walking out. I think it was the first night or either the first night of wrestling before or after WrestleMania. And Paul Heyman was walking out, and as he's walking out, he was saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul." And he was as he said his name,
Paul.
the whole crowd, and he was astonished.
Yes.
He was just like, "Whoa!"
Listen, I'm not surprised. For those of you who don't know, I think back in the 90s and early 2000s, ECW was a wrestling program started by Paul Heyman. And it was a wrestling company started in Philadelphia. And it was just known the home for hardcore wrestling. Like all that stuff people say is fake in wrestling, everything was 100% real in ECW. Let me tell you, like people were getting cut open, people were bleeding all over. There were crazy. For those of you who do not know, look up the wrestler New Jack, and I promise you, you will see nothing fake with that man and his wrestling style.
New Jack.
Yes.
Okay.
R.I.P. to him. He died. He passed away. I think like recently. I feel it was like 2-3 years ago now. But like his wrestling style. Oh, that man. That man should have been in prison so many times.
Oh my! Oh,
But
not should be
yeah,
in prison.
no, like when you watch his matches, you will understand why. When you look at the stories behind it, oh my gosh! But he was very entertaining, very entertaining. And of course, for those of you who do know WWE fans, ECW was eventually brought to WWE, kind of like phased out, but it's been a staple for Philly for a while, especially with wrestling fans. And you could argue it was like a staple as far as how it affected and like made Philly what it is. Because people know us, like people know Philly fans as like rowdy, wild, hardcore, and you could argue that ECW played a big part in bringing that to fruition. So yeah, it was great. Honestly, like WrestleMania was amazing. I hope they bring it back again soon to Philly. But I'm very proud as a Philadelphian. I'm very proud that we showed out the way we did. But yeah, of course we have other things to look forward to. I mean, we have the Eagles. The draft just happened. We had a great draft. Howie, my God.
Listen. The amount of shit that and I'm sorry,
You're good. You're
but
good.
the amount of things I've seen already from the draft, based off of like people talking and like the whole thing with Howie and how he snuck. I forgot. Why did I forget his name?
So
The
it's,
second DB.
yeah, so it's the Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean, thank you.
That man.
How he
Listen,
snuck Cooper DeJean from everyone.
I didn't see that coming at all. Listen, I went.
I didn't even know that was. I look. I'm gonna say this real quick and then let you go. I just did not know that there was like that much of that was like a gold mine thing
Yeah.
to do, or there was someone like that hidden that deep into the draft.
Dude, he was projected to be a first round pick.
Which is why it was like that there was someone that deep into the
Yeah.
draft hidden to where if it wasn't a sneak type of thing, I wouldn't have thought it was a big deal. But like how people are reacting, especially with like how the trades work, because this is something just want to cut into just because I'm gonna ramble a little bit more about it. This is something that apparently I don't know if Howie or someone in the Eagles predicted or planned for 2 years back at least.
Really?
Because the draft trades they committed in 2020 or 2021, the drafts they committed throughout 2021 and 2022. No, the drafts they committed through 2021 and 2020. And the trades they did throughout 2021 and 2022 was due to those drafts in 2020. So due to basically sacrificing certain drafts or trading certain players back in 2020 and 2021.
Oh yeah,
Gave them certain drafts for 2023 and 2022 draft picks.
I like to think of it. Well, actually, you are right because we did make a couple trades like with the Saints specifically.
And then we traded those draft picks for other players, which is how we got AJ. And so,
So actually, that all stems from the Carson Wentz trade.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was like all from like 2020 and 19. That's because I didn't want to say 2019 because I wasn't sure.
He was still here. It was after 2020, after the 2021 season. That was Carson's last year here, and then we traded him.
See, so I thought 2020 was his last season.
No.
2021
Well,
was
kind of technically. So 2020, 2021 season.
Okay,
so
I see.
the offseason 2021, that's when we traded him, and then we got all those picks, and we made it. We made the team what it is now. All those picks we converted to Georgia guys, AJ Brown. It was amazing.
It was like that's what I'm saying. I don't know who predicted the future, or who gave this man the cheat code. Because the fact that they still took, because I thought, okay, yeah, it's cool how it worked into us getting AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And us getting cool, even better was last year. We got
Jalen Carter.
Thank you. And now I'm mad. I'm so mad. I almost forgot his name because I met him like just
Yeah,
randomly. Just
dude.
one thing. I took a.
When I first met this man, right, like I'd known him for like a couple weeks, maybe a month at this point. I look on his Instagram story, and it's just him chilling, posted up with Jalen Carter. I'm like, yo, what? Didn't you say you met him at like Redden Terminal?
Yeah, it was literally just because it was right as the season had ended for us, sadly. Which again, sadly, but in the moment because the season ended, he was here. He was here in the off season, and so I don't know what they were doing. Either way, it was Center City, it was basically downtown public area, and just walking into a store, him walking out.
That's
I walked
crazy.
in, literally walked past him, turned around, and as he's holding the door for me, I'm like,
ain't you?
I know your face. And he looks down, he's like, yeah. And I was like, why do I know your face?
Oh my gosh.
Because so again, this is probably like the second draft that I focused the most on.
Okay.
Jalen Carter's draft was the first draft I've ever really focused on for the whole draft.
Really?
He was a part of that because when I found out that we were getting a new defensive back or defensive
defensive lineman, yeah.
Sorry, not back, but defensive lineman.
Yeah.
When I knew that we were getting new defensive linemen in general and middle linebacker too with those, when I found out about those from Georgia, I was like, okay, we had Jordan Davis from Georgia. I just want anyone else from Georgia.
Yeah.
I was like, Jordan Davis is a big boy. We got him from I want to take anyone else. So when I was like, okay, cool, Jalen Carter, he looks great. I looked up his highlights. I was like, oh, this dude's tough. He is strong.
We got lucky with that too because it's unfortunate the situation, but if it wasn't for his legal situation and that accident that happened, we probably wouldn't have gotten him because our pick was like at number 10. He was supposed to be a projected like top 3, top 5 pick.
I think he did drop 2 or drop 1.
Yeah, he dropped all the way to 9, and he you talk about the chart, his case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was something like he had to just do like community service or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying
But
like
I don't, I don't
I thought he
I think that you always saying that they dropped the charges.
no, I thought you said he was dropped 9. I thought he was like, where was he
Yeah,
projected to
so
be?
he was projected to be like a top 3 pick. Like he was projected to be like Will him and Will
Okay,
Anderson.
no, yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one A,
yeah,
one B, and he
that
dropped
tracks up,
all the way
that
to
tracks up,
9.
that tracks up.
So
I was trying to figure out where he was projected in my head. I don't remember it being, I didn't remember it being top 3, but when you just said it, it clicked in
yeah,
my head.
but
Or at least top 5 in my head, I guess. That's what
yeah.
I thought.
But Howie, I'm like literally since 2020. Like I remember 2020 happened, and this man was getting flamed. That Jalen Reagor trade, I'm sorry, that Jalen Reagor draft, like taking him over Justin Jefferson, that man got clowned for a good year and then some. We were the laughing stock of the league for that. But although if you look back at that draft, we still got guys who actually are still on the team and contributing. That's the same draft we got Jalen Hurts. So like that draft wasn't. I mean, yes, the Justin Jefferson thing was a bit embarrassing, but at the same time, that wasn't
For me,
like
I,
it is what it is.
this is again back to the prediction thing.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Careful.
sorry,
You're
okay,
good. You're good.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened throughout the past draft or past 2 drafts with Carson Wentz, or at least a lot of stuff that happened since the Carson Wentz
Yes.
was
Is that
all
trade?
just the trigger, whether it triggered or not. It was all just meant to happen in that set order.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, don't get me wrong. Yes, would I love to have Justin Jefferson, but
At
with
the
how
Smitty and AJ,
with
it's still a good place.
To be honest, to me, look, and again, this is why I said we're biased, but unbiased, because I'm not gonna factually say this and stand on this hill factual wise and whatnot.
Yeah.
But to me, Devontae is a better receiver than Jefferson.
Ooh, you're gonna have some. Ooh, we're gonna some.
Look.
Ooh.
And this is the thing. That's
Some
why,
people, you got
that's
some
why
people
I
a
said
bit.
not factual. That's why I said not
Yeah.
factual. Because I'm gonna be honest. It's was a lot of that is okay. No, not a lot.
Look, I love Smitty, but you're going to some people.
Is half of that bias for me saying it, or a reason for me saying it, just based off of that? Yes, definitely. but a lot of it also has to do with the fact that this man catches these balls
Yeah.
like
No,
this man.
no diddy.
Like no diddy. See, we're not trying to make things weird.
I'm sorry, I had to.
all right. But this man will catch like Odell in most situations.
Yeah.
Like he's caught one-handed sideline toe
Mm-hmm.
tipping.
His foot control too, to keep
That's what
his
I'm
toes
saying.
in
Like
on those
he's
sideline
caught
catches. Oh,
sideline toe tipping one-handed. This man caught the ball falling down where it should have fell or bounced off of him.
he's high pointed the ball multiple times. Like he's going up in the air to get that joint. Oh my gosh.
On top of that, most and I'm saying most and not because I'm not gonna say all of them because I'm not be realistic here. This man, more than not, has caught and or almost caught balls being double teamed
Yes.
a lot more than I would say most. And I say most thinking about how many wide receivers there are in the league. A
Yeah.
lot more than most wide receivers in the league would. Justin Jefferson can definitely do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely has the speed to get up there. He definitely has the speed to get out the way. But as far as catching and holding onto the balls, coming down,
I don't know though because I've seen Jefferson do some crazy things. Because I saw one game against the Bills, that down to the wire game, and like I watched this with one of my closest friends from college. He's a Bills fan. He will remember this game very clearly. Chris, I am sorry, but I remember this game so clearly. It was a one-handed. He got the ball, brought that joint down, saved the possession for that Vikings offense against the Bills, and they eventually won the game. That play stays in my head. So like, listen, I understand. Listen, I love Smitty. I love AJ Brown. The sentiment of Smitty being better than Jefferson, a lot of people will disagree, but at the same time, they're both still great receivers.
Look.
Let's not stay on this.
No. I want to say, you could disagree fairly. I am open to anyone disagreeing because you know what? I will agree with you. I'm saying this. I'm already saying half of this based off of bias. Like I know I could be wrong, but it's just I've seen a lot. And again, this is coming from a fan of both of these wide receivers. They're both great. I have nothing against Vikings, but I've seen a lot more things that have surprised me and or like have been like this man actually caught the ball, like thrown back where I would not think he has the ball from Devontae than I've seen from Jefferson. Does it
Okay.
mean that?
Well,
Does it mean that Devontae can do it and Jefferson can't? No. To me, honestly, if we want to be factual, I think they're even enough players. Do I think Devontae is better than AJ? Yes. Do I think Devontae is better? Listen, do I think Devontae is better than AJ? No, sorry, Devontae. Sorry. Do I think Jefferson's better than AJ? Yes.
oh,
Do I think Devontae and Jefferson are equal? Yes. I can't put one above the better or there. So maybe I did say Devontae's better than AJ.
okay. Well, all right.
But look, I love them both. It's all love there. It's just,
Yeah.
I think I just like the fact that he's a faster player,
Mm,
and still has great control of the ball.
yeah.
So a lot of his catches for me is what gets me for him, being able to get up there with that speed and then still come down with it while being tussled, while being fighting for it and stuff.
They're all great wide receivers, and honestly, I'm excited to see where the careers go. I'm glad we got AJ. I'm glad we got Devontae
Shoot.
and Justin Jefferson. I wish him the best with the
As long
Vikings.
as you're not Debo Samuel or
Honestly-
or CD Lamb, you good in my book.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Look, all these wide receivers are great, but we're gonna have the ones that we're not gonna like.
Yeah.
For me, and we're matter of fact, not just wide receivers, players in general.
See, for me, it's not like I like. There's certain ones that like I don't like, but I gotta respect. Like their game is just so cool, and CD is definitely one of those guys.
yeah, no, CD I respect. I don't like, but I respect.
Yeah,
Debo Samuel, I don't like or care for.
Yeah.
But he's a good player. Like I know he's good. I know he does stuff that I could never do.
Mm-hmm.
But as a fan of what I am and whatnot, I just don't care for him. Whereas CD, I could at least he's earned my respect because he's been respectful. How about
Yeah, that's
that?
fair.
How
That's
about
fair.
that?
that's fair.
But
Well,
going on to, I guess, how do you want to go into?
so okay, so there's a lot more Eagle stuff we can get into.
Yeah,
and
we can get to Eagles later.
Yeah, we'll get into that as the time goes along because at this point we're recording this. The draft is passed. It's rookie mini camps right now. So as the time goes, more reports come out. We get into training camp and preseason. Will be good.
Saquon Barkley.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
say
get
Barkley.
we're gonna get into that. We might have a whole Eagles episode soon, but
yeah, we still got a lot of people.
we're just gonna go through a whole synopsis first. And like I'm sorry, I this is gonna hurt, but we have to go into the Sixers.
See, I'm not saying. See, this is him. This is him saying it's going to hurt.
Okay, for me, I'm saying this because I am a very much diehard Sixers fan. Like,
And that's-
arguably, I would say I'm more like the Sixers are my number one. Eagles are a very close number two, but
And,
they
me,
cause me so much pain.
and as you guys are hearing, for me, it's flipped. Eagles, you might have, maybe heard me more passionate or so being on Eagles. 76ers is like, you know what? I say the team has improved from what I thought it could be these past 2 seasons. I'll say since Joel and since the let go of Ben Simmons, they've improved in my eyes. But every time I hear about them, it apparently they've been getting worse and worse. I don't know. I like the few stars that we do have. I think they're making great impacts.
Only 2, only 2.
I've said few.
All right, let me go into this. Let me go into this my soliloquy real quick because, like I said, I'm a diehard Sixers fan. I've been this way since since elementary school. AI is probably he's tied for my favorite basketball player all time, next to Kobe Bryant.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have gone through my history with this team. I've gone through the past history with the AI-led Sixers. I've gone through my own history since 2016 when the Ben Simmons trade happened. Even before that, I remember seeing a game with Joel Embiid live when he first came back from his injury. I think his technical rookie season. I saw one of the early games that season, and he did great. I was thinking, oh my God, this guy is going to be a star in the future. I was right, and that was that point where we had plain scrubs on the team. I remember we had a guy I think named Sergio Rodriguez, something like that. He was good with a 3-pointer, but other than that, wasn't much to his game. I've gone through the history with the playoff losses, the second round exits, the tanking and drafts that we had number 1 pick or at least top 3. The Mikal Bridges trade, it still pisses me. Okay, there might be some indifference with Sixers fans, but the trades that we did, the Jason Tatum, Markelle Fultz, Jason Tatum draft. Listen, I understand for people.
Trade?
So that was 2018. We drafted this man out of Villanova, 10th pick overall. He fell to us. It was great. It was meant to be. It was a homecoming. Stevie Wonder could have seen this was destined.
Mm-hmm.
Like This was so perfect, and then not even 30 minutes later, we trade this man for a player who was drafted by the Suns, who didn't even play a single second of basketball for us. Bro, what are we doing? Meanwhile, Mikal Bridges has had a great career. Listen, say what you want, but that man has been the Iron Man of the league. He hasn't missed a single game since he entered the NBA. He has shown out in Phoenix and in Brooklyn. He may not be a number one player.
But is he in Nets right now?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
in Nets.
okay.
He may not be a number one player, but he still
definitely
had very good.
top 5 on the team.
Yes, he
Nets
can be. He could
right
be like
now?
a good second to on a team with the on this team. He could
No.
be a second, third option right now.
Oh no, but I'm saying definitely he could be a top 3 with us.
Yeah, definitely. He like that man was supposed to be a top three
No,
with
that's-
us.
That's what I'm saying. If he stuck with us, or if we kept him, he could have been a top 3 with us.
I saw a clip. I remember a game this past season. It was Sixers versus Brooklyn at home. It was an altercation between him and Tyrese. I got pissed off, not because like, yo, why you mess with Tyrese? I was pissed off because like these two are supposed to be teammates and friends. They're not supposed to be fighting on the court like
supposed to
this.
be like
It
this.
wasn't. It wasn't. You know what? I gave Brett Brown so much flack for that because for the longest time I thought it was his fault that we lost Mikal because he was the interim general manager at that point because we had shady GMs before that. But I ended up realizing it wasn't even Brett Brown's call. He was an interim GM, but he really had no say. It was the owners trying to play 2K in real life, thinking, "Oh, this guy's cool, but what if we get this guy who has a crazy vertical? Like what?" That because to his
This guy who has a crazy vertical.
because to his credit, Zaire Smith was one like very athletic. I remember seeing highlights of him. He was great. Like I had a friend when that trade happened. He was like, okay, he could be a dunk contest contestant. But that was pretty much the furthest it went. This man didn't play for us. He almost died because of a sesame seed allergy. And now I think he plays for the G League for either the Cavs or OKC. And he actually can ball still, but like waste of a draft. Waste of a draft. Honestly, I was very upset. Like Jason, like I said, the Jason Tatum draft, I'm not that upset with. I think he would not be. I don't know if he would have the same success that he has on Boston right now if he came here is Boston, whether you want to say that team is super stacked or not, that man's in a great situation. He is on a team that knows how to properly build around their stars, properly builds a good team, and even when he has nights where like the team kind of carries him, he's still like a very good player. So I mean, Tatum, and really when you look back at it in hindsight, that year I remember that year, Markelle Fultz was the consensus number 1 overall pick. I remember leading up to that draft, people were looking at Markelle and being like, "Yeah, this is the guy you want." Like Fultz was the guy. Listen, no one expected him to just forget how to shoot, get into an accident, and just lose his ability to shoot at all. But like, things happen. Things happen. Hindsight is crazy, but it is what it is. Looking back at this past season, dude, we've had so many. Like, I feel like this team is cursed. We've had so many. We had good moments. We have Joel. Like Joel won his MVP last year. Tyrese Maxey won Most Improved Player this past year. Like just seeing the climb of Tyrese Maxey these past couple of years has been amazing. I remember when we drafted him, I did not expect us to draft him. I thought he was going to go a lot higher than our pick. He fell at 21. I was so happy. I was still in college. I was jumping around my dorm room a little bit. I can't lie, but this man made a promise that we would not regret picking him, and he has kept up to that promise. This man had 50-point games this past season. Like I said, one Most Improved Player of the year. Got selected to his first All-Star team this past year. And this man, he had a 46-point game against the New York Knicks that kept our season alive, at least an extra game. Listen, we may not have won the series, but Tyrese showed that he is a star and he is here to stay. And when Joel's time is up, it's time to build around Tyrese. We're going to have to build around Tyrese. That's just the future. That's the way it's going to have to be. And I love this team, and I'm so glad that we have players like Joel and Tyrese to be happy for. But at the same time, this organization does not know how to build around star players. We did the same thing with AI. We failed to do it with Iguodala, Drew Holiday, and those guys. We failed.
We know how to make star players. We don't know how to keep them.
No, we don't know how to make star players. No. AI was a star strictly because of his heart and his attitude towards the game.
What about Joel though?
Joel I give that to Drew Hanlon. Drew Hanlon, his trainer, helped Joel out
But
a
Maxley
lot.
though? But Maxley?
Maxi, again, like the AI attitude. Maxi had an attitude to the game. His motto is getting 1% better every day. He puts
Okay.
in he puts in so much work. I remember when we drafted him, there was so many stories about him having like three workouts before like 1 p.m. Like he wakes up early in the morning. Like he grinds. Like he truly grinds. He tries to get better every single time he gets out on that court. And it's paid off. It's paid off. He averaged 25 points a game this year. He made to his first All-Star game. He has averaged career highs in points and assists. He filled roles that no one really thought he could fill. When we lost Ben Simmons, when we lost James Harden, Tyrese has stepped up to the plate. He's shown that he can be the number two. And in some cases, you could argue with Joel's age and injuries, he should be number one.
Who, Tyrese or Joel?
Tyrese.
No, no, not even an argument. Tyrese definitely should be number one.
Like,
I think I think Joel and his injuries, especially coming back, and how just because I know we're going to get into the playoffs and such, but just cut into it real quick. In how, not necessarily like, oh, it was suckish or bad or horrible, but just in how different,
yeah.
and how bad how bad the difference was. Not even bad playing in general, but how bad the difference was. You could tell about the injury affecting Joel Embiid
On
when he
one
came
leg.
back on one leg. You could tell watching that this man was fighting his injury
Yes.
as he's playing.
Now, for those of you who don't know, like, Joel basically had a knee injury this past year. It was a meniscus. He had to get surgery repaired, and he actually came back for the playoffs. He came back before the season ended. 8 games before the season ended, played them out, went to the playoffs, and hey, he died on his shield. He gave his all for the team, and he really tried to make it work. Honestly, to me, I think this might have been the best playoff performance I've seen from Joel in a minute. Like he tried his best. He tried to get the team over the hump, and it didn't work out.
But that's also the thing. That's why I feel like he needs to be. Can he be number one again? Definitely be. I still see him being number one for us.
Should he be? Maybe not.
I think right now he needs to be number two. Because Tyrese deserves to be number one. I feel like he's been sweating his butt off for our team right now. In the skill set to where we're talking about him over other players, but like we still have players like Tobias Harris who is
Thank God he's
great,
gone now. Oh my gosh.
who was great at the time, but fell very
Great before he came. Okay.
No, he knows. So it's what I'm saying is great because he's great when he first came to us. He was
okay.
That's okay. That's fair, and that's fair.
I'll say this. He was decent.
I thought he was a good fit. I thought he was a good fit when he first came to us.
I did too.
I'll say the second season, I was like, okay, cool. He's scoring a little bit more. He's getting a little points up, but he's still not making any real impacts.
Yeah.
Which is what I was hoping to see more from him.
And at the same time, I can't really blame. I can't blame him for signing that contract. You get that much money, anyone's gonna sign that. And Tobias, he's a good dude. I'm sure he's a great guy. But at the same time, he just was not the player that we paid him to be. And honestly,
This is what I was saying. Like the second season of him playing for us, he definitely. I was like, okay, cool. He can score, but I just felt like he just wasn't. He just wasn't putting in the potential that he can, because he was showing, at least in between that first him playing with us and in between the second season of him playing with us, he was showing that he can be that scoring man in the middle, or be that scoring man on the middle shot, the fadeaway shots, and having a little middleman shoot, even scoring some threes for us. Because this was still right around time we don't have Ben Simmons, we don't really have real point guard yet. But
he was supposed to be number 2 for Joel.
Exactly. So that's what that man that could be outside and shoot a little bit or help him out a little bit. And that's why I was like he's starting out like that. He was doing that for us.
He got very indecisive.
Yeah, and then you just didn't know where he fit around. He was just kind of just everywhere. And then when we were started building a team, like when we had Tyrese in the team, when we had Joel back, and starting building a team together kind of around those two, you would expect for him to kind of slide and find his spot. And then he just didn't. He just never did. He just kind of was. That's why it upset me, because I wanted to like him. I wanted to have hope for him as far as fitting for our team for real.
Yeah.
But seeing the backlash of how little he's putting up or how little he's actually doing, it was like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like that's that's not where I'm at with Joel right now, but it's also like you are starting to slip into that where you're forcing yourself to try and put more stuff up
Hmm.
and not doing your full potential. And
He
you're not playing your because he's still trying to keep that star and he knows that he's the star for the team, so he's still trying to pull off certain things where like you're risking your body, dude. Like you're not. It's not risking your body like, oh, you're too old, this, that's whatever. But if you're already injured and you're doing this much more for
hmm
us, and then it's still not pulling through,
yeah.
yes, there's something part with the team, but it's also the fact of like maybe your part in that team is helping us isn't helping us in this exact moment.
I will say, this was what I said when Joel has injury. I thought it would be like a blessing in disguise because he came back for the most part. He seemed pretty healthy playing those last 8 games. He tweaked it, I think, the second to last game against the Magic, but we still won. He still came out, played. He had a bunch of scares going to the ground where we thought that like he was going to be out indefinitely, but he came back. Um, and he like I thought his game was going to make him play more like Jokic. I mean, we look at Jokic. I know that's the main guy Joel's compared to because they always go back and forth. Even though I think it's
But
more
they
so the
do play.
media.
They do play a lot alike.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. I will say style wise, Joel is a 7'2" center playing like a guard. Jokic
He's
plays more of his size. Like he gets
Jokic
in the
doesn't play
paint.
like a guard, but Jokic can. But this thing. So Joel, for me, how I can see a difference in this fact is, Joel is a 7 foot. He's basically a center built, bodied man
Hmm.
that has learned and taught himself to play like a point guard,
Yeah.
and got himself to play like a point guard, which is fine. Jokic, however, a dude
Actually,
is
I wouldn't say Joel point guard. I would say shooting guard. Like he just he for a lot
okay.
of times I
Yeah,
saw
because
Joel
he's
have
not a
tunnel
dribbler. He's
vision.
not. No, he's not.
No,
No,
he's a dribbler. He's gotten better at that. But I mean, like we think of a point guard, you think of someone who dishes out assists, dimes the ball out. That wasn't his game.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So when I think of point guard, I'm thinking like Russell Westbrook,
Hmm.
like not always like Steph Curry and all that, but not always outside shooter. Kind of
Yeah.
the one that dribbles around the people, drives to the basket, fadeaway shots, mid shots choosing instead of the 3 point going for. That's what I think of point guard. So that's why I'm like, okay, I can see Joel like that, but definitely understanding the more, or at least more shooting guard, because that's again the whole dribbling, down to the basket thing.
Yeah.
Don't really see as much for Joel, but I see the shooting guard aspect more, where he does he could just pull up and shoot it if he wanted
Hmm.
to, if he's able to in a good position, it would go in. It would just, and he could pull it up and do that constantly.
Jokic though was like he's more of the
See, I was
pass first.
yeah, no, see that's what I was getting to. So like Jokic is more of a like he's the point guard that he's playing like a point guard, but he's just stuck with the body he has.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like he's not fast. He's not like
No.
I don't think he's fast like a point guard. I don't think he's like smooth entirely. He's smooth in points, but I don't think he's like smooth or skilled with his ball handle like point guard, whatever. But the dude, he's a center that can bring it up. He's a center to where like for me, watching Joel Embiid bring up the ball up the court would look a bit weird as a decision wise to me. But if I see a Jokic do it, it looks common. It looks normal, like completely normal. And half of that is going again how they dribble and how they deal with the ball.
Their play styles, yeah.
But for a lot of stuff, being Jokic is like you said, like a pass first or get close to the rim kind of guy.
Jokic can dime it out so well, and it's almost annoying how crazy it
He
is.
can pass it. That's what I'm saying. He's more of like and that's why I think of point guard with him just stuck in that body because he could bring it down to the court. And you don't expect him to pull off some crazy shot, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's going to pull off some crazy pass,
Mhm.
or he's going to break someone's ankles, not even by dribbling, but you think he's going one way, and boom, and then the ball's gone. He doesn't have it anymore.
That's the thing, though. Like, I didn't like I didn't think Joel was just going to be like extremely like that. But I've seen him grow his passing ability, passing out double teams, bringing the ball up. And I thought his injury, he's going to play more like Jokic, play slower, not slower, but play like more in tune, play like get those passes out more instead of trying to force up a shot.
But that's fair. But for me, like again, from the jump of watching Joel, I could tell he was a center position dude that's trained himself to play like a point guard. So it wasn't like he's trained himself in like, or it wasn't like, oh, he just knows point. Like he knows all the positions, necessities and stuff, of course. But it wasn't like is think. I don't think he's thinking like a point guard, even when
Yeah.
he is playing, even how he's playing now, and with a little slow or with the
Hmm.
injury, you want him to take it a little slower. So I don't even think then he's still thinking like a point guard. So I think he's like thinking like kind of like he's thinking like a shooting guard, or he's training
Yeah.
himself to like really play like a big man that could be a shooting guard
Hmm.
because he already has that big man skill set in him, and he already knows that he could try and be in under the box. He could be the guy in the box in the paint, and he could be the guy scoring the right under the hoop type of thing. But he's trained himself to want to produce for the team more.
Hmm.
So he's trained himself to be that shooting guard that can get more points in different areas,
The,
or get more like maybe even assists or so, but get outside from just being that middle big guy.
the way I see it, because I remember hearing, I forget, I think it was like maybe 2 seasons ago. There was a interview that we had with him, and he was talking about like him working with Drew Hanlon, and he told a story about how he went to do his off-season work with Drew, and he was saying how to Drew like, man, I wish we had someone like a KD on our team. Wish we had someone who would just score at will like that. And I think Drew was like, why can't you be that? And then literally they took that whole summer to try to upgrade Joel's game and improve his game to where he kind of was that KD type archetype, like the guy who can just shoot it over guys. Like no matter if you let him get to a spot, like he is draining that shot no matter what. And I think we did a good job of doing that. I mean, in a lot of ways you could compare KD with Joel as far as just like the unstoppable monster offensively. The one thing I would put Joel over KD is defense, because Joel's defensively, Joel really gives his all. He really tries to make an impact. KD, although he has a size, he doesn't necessarily like do as much as you would expect him to. But offensively, they're both juggernauts. But at the same time, like with Joel's body frame, like he just can't keep doing as much. I would say, and like a couple people have said this in the media, but like a lot of people have said like if Joel can like lose weight in the off season, because that's pretty much what he needs to do. He's 30 now. We don't know how many more years he has in the league. If he could get his weight down, I think it would definitely help his knees. It would help his longevity, and he could possibly play an extra 5 years.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about his weight being, but I did hear a lot of stuff about it. I just didn't. I didn't physically see it, so when I saw, I just didn't see how it was impacting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I didn't know too much about it at the time. But I did hear a lot of it being a negative or being a negative impact on him, that him gaining weight or him gaining more weight being a problem.
Yeah.
Not to like say like gaining weight is a problem in general, but when it comes to just especially the center positions, a lot of the players do tend to kind of like let themselves go in the center position.
I mean, look at Shaq. I mean, Shaq. Okay.
But that's again. So that's another thing. So that's like coming from like. So Shaq is coming from a center position era that where it was normal for the bigger guys, I guess.
Mhm.
But like now it's like it's weird. We had the Wilt Chamberlain era.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had like the Charles Barkley and Shaq, and now we're back into like the Wilt Chamberlain, Giannis, type of tall, skinny Rudy.
Okay, I can see
Rudy
it.
Gobert, kind of tall, skinny, big man.
I get it.
Cat,
Yeah.
Cat, all the tall, skinny, big man,
Mm-hmm.
and bringing that, and now seeing people, the big men gain a bit more weight,
Mm-hmm.
especially because they're playing not older, but they're playing like longer, I guess, than back then.
Mm-hmm.
Or then back then, they're like a lot of people that are at the age now,
Mm-hmm.
they would retire. They would have retired in Shaq's prime, type of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
so like I feel like
I mean, I remember Shaq going against guys who already had knee braces on. They were trying to like keep up. But I mean,
exactly. So like
yeah.
it's just I feel like back then it has to do also with partially with the weight, being like if you are
Like if you're a Wemby,
if you're over pressuring your body
Yeah.
work wise, and you're doing over, you may not know it, but you're overstraining your body, overstraining your muscles, whatever work wise, doing drills and workouts and all the same setups and such every other week or every daily, however you're doing them to get better. The more you're going to improve, the weaker your body's going to get.
I would say not even just that though, but like going into like a game scenario as a big, like again, Joel is like some people say 7'2", some people say 7
as a
foot.
bigger person, right?
Yeah, but
that's
but
why I'm saying like center positions.
But he's also like, he's that tall, but also nearly 300 pounds. you're going to feel that on your joints every time you go up, every time you jump, every time you go up for a dunk. Like,
That's what I'm saying. The center positions they need like I would feel like need to like why or keep themselves like or watching their weight kind of thing because they're already big enough people to
yeah.
where their joints aren't going to be.
But at the same time, you look at Joel, but you also look at someone like Wemby. Wemby is like 7'5", but he's lanky and skinny. But that's a guy who's his frame. Although people say like he's like a twig or he's gonna be broken in half. Like he's shown that he can hang, and and like with his body frame, even if you want to say he should put on a little bit more muscle, cool. But with his body frame, he is going to last a lot longer probably than Joel, strictly because of like the body type. Joel, I love. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I love Joel. I'm so glad we have Joel. But like this has been an issue for a while. I mean, he came into the league injured. It was a foot injury, but still, he came to the league injured. I this team I don't think we should be putting everything on Joel. I'm glad we have Tyrese now, but I feel like we need to round out this roster. That's when people keep saying, "Oh, third star, get Paul George, try to get LeBron, draft Bronny, get LeBron here." I know it's hard, and this free agency class is not the best, but at the same time, this is just something that we're going to have to try to figure out. And hopefully, if we don't get it right with Joel, we can get it right with Tyrese because something has to give. Something like this last season, I was
Something
hoping
has to give more for our
the organization. I'd say,
organization. I was gonna say yeah, because I want to keep them both, but for the cap and the salaries and to try and better our team for the future, honestly, because and how we were talking and going real full circle, how we were talking about how we were doing with the Eagles and letting Carson Wentz go and having the money space to make the trades and make the requests that he can make from other teams. I think we need that money space with the 76ers because a lot of I don't think we need to rebuild around maybe one person. I just think we need to rebuild the team.
well, we have the cap space
That
because that's another thing. We have, I think, right now we have like I think 62 million in cap space
but with both Joel and
with Tyrese. So we have money for like 2 max slots and then filling out the rest of the roster. I say like everyone knows one of those max slots is going to Maxi, but at the same time, I don't know if you go for a big another star because that's gonna be like the only real options are Paul George and LeBron James, and LeBron really was only an option if you draft his son. I don't think that's the way. I get it's LeBron. I get it, but considering he's only playing 2 more seasons, he is at an age where like you're basically asking him to kind of exert more than he has on the Lakers, in my opinion, because he could he shift to number 2, maybe 3, possibly. But at the same time, do we really want that? And like, is that something that could really get us over the hump, given the fact of like this or how this organization has been? I don't know. And like, you look at Paul George, he's 34. That man does not have a great playoff history past his time in Indiana. And he hasn't really gotten that much farther in the playoffs either. So I mean, he I don't know. He had a pretty lackluster playoff performance this past year for the Clippers. I still remember when people were trashing playoff P when he hit the broad side of the backboard that one year in the playoffs. But this dude,
do I still listen? Listen, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to Paul George, I still have faith that he's gonna pull up one of these playoffs and he's gonna come out here looking like Damian Lillard.
oh my gosh.
And Damian Lillard in his prime, not Damian Lillard in Milwaukee Bucks.
I will say this.
Not Milwaukee Bucks Damian Lillard.
I will give Paul this. Would Paul George right now be better than what we had in Tobias? Yes. He would be better.
Oh, definitely.
He would definitely help out as a third option. I think it would definitely be. Could he?
I would say I still think it would be a lot. It would be not a waste of a cap salary, but it would be a choice you like. You really got to stick behind if you're gonna go with this one.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely not in his prime, but he's gonna want the money like he is.
Yeah.
Or at least he's gonna be one of those players that's a star name that deserves the money like he is.
Yeah.
So if there's a choice they go with, I just want them to know what they're doing. Again, I'm not hating on it, but it's out of all the players or all the options they could have tried to use that money with, using it on Paul George would would be a choice.
Yeah, it will be a choice. And I get like there's not a lot of options for agency wise. A lot for me, I feel like we should really just like fill out the depth and get like a really great bench because that's something we have not had in a minute, and that's something that has always been a detriment for us. I mean, you look at our past playoff series with the Knicks. They had a decent starting five, but they had that bench depth that kept them in it. Boston, they're literally built top to bottom, a very balanced and stacked team. Great starting five, but also a heavy bench that can kill you. So, listen, at the end of the day, do I have faith in this offseason? Honestly, no, I really don't. I don't think there. I don't. I have no faith in Daryl Morey right now. Hopefully, I'll be wrong. Hopefully, but right
I
now,
have
I don't see it.
I have faith in two players. I want to believe I have faith in Joel Embiid. I want to know what the hell we're doing since we got rid of Tobias now. Because yes, it was a good decision to get rid of him, but how we're going to find a replacement and or what is the replacement?
I feel like
Because
that
you
won't be
need
that hard though. I feel like it won't be that hard. I'm
yes,
just saying.
but for me, it's you want to find a good one because we just don't want another. We
Yeah.
don't want another. We just don't want another Tobias.
But again, the options are pretty. It's slim pickings out here.
That's what I'm saying because it's slim picking. So we're gonna be thinking, this name player he played for so he was good. They're gonna pick someone that was a good fit for that team and it's gonna be trash
Yeah.
for us because that's exactly what happened with Tobias, where he fit the role we needed just with that team and not with us.
Yeah.
So I want them to actually think like who was gonna fit our team in the roles that we need. I would prefer more or less who can work with our team over who can work with the roles.
Yeah.
Because Tobias, he thought he had a role and the team changed up and then he lost his role.
Yeah.
He had
yeah.
nothing. So I'd rather someone that can work with the team even if it is changed up and even could find themselves in a role still, but not just look for someone just to fit a certain role.
Yeah.
Just to fit a middleman. You know.
I agree. All right, that was a lot, but hey, first episode, we had to get it all out there.
I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
we have a lot of emotions
Yes.
in this, but they're all supportive in the fact that we just want our teams to
Do well, just mainly, especially for the Sixers. Please,
do well.
just
Do well.
please.
I mean,
You can tell like I'm very hard on this. Like we haven't even talked about the Phillies yet, and like
you go, 'cause
that's gonna be another episode.
look,
but like,
for the Phillies, I can. For me, you guys may have seen how I got with the Eagles a little bit, but don't even. We won't get into the Eagles a little bit later, later on in the series. So,
yeah,
but how he is right now with the Sixers, that's how I'm gonna be. So just prepare for that. Get yourselves ready for that.
well,
But
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. Again, I know it was a bit long, but hey, we had to make this one make this a good one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the listen. As we go along, we will be talking about more of Philly sports, Eagles, Sixers, Phillies. So it'll be great. We will, and we might just throw like random stuff in here sometimes. Like we may just talk about like pop culture stuff, like who knows. But yeah, yeah. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. That is it for us for this episode. We will catch you guys again soon. I'm Corey.
it's Trey.
And this is the Sports Talk from the Chair podcast. I almost forgot our own name.
No, we're still working on it. This is the first podcast from the chair.
Yeah.
So we're still working on how we're going to do our closings, our openings.
Yeah.
We just being real with y'all though. So like I
Facts.
said, podcast from the chair. We out.
We out.